And our research team is now joining in with how the trade setup looks like, the stocks that are likely to be in the news, and of course, the setup on the FNO side of things as well. But you know, Vamakshi, after all that happened last week, the GIFT Nifty is indicating a very, very big gap up, almost 500 points, right? What are the cues that you are watching out for today?
Well, absolutely, Hormaz. The GIFT Nifty is indicating a very strong start to the trading session today. The week that was very action-packed. Of course, we saw heightened geopolitical tensions between, India as well as the UK. On the positive side, we also had an FTA with the UK. The Fed kept interest rates unchanged and ruled out preemptive rate cut to reduce tariff impact as well. Given all of these factors that played out, the market actually snapped a 3-week gaining streak. When we look at the Nifty, it was down over 1%. Same for the Sensex. In fact, 14 Nifty stocks posted negative returns last week. Bulk of the damage, however, came in on Friday's trading session, but nevertheless, Nifty managed to hold on to that crucial support level of 24,000. As far as the broader markets are concerned, the Nifty mid-cap relatively performed better. It saw a cut of around 0.9%, but the small cap index actually managed to underperform the benchmark indices because it saw a cut of almost 2% last week. Let's also look at how the sectoral indices performed. Well, the Nifty Realty saw a cut of almost 6.5%, which was the top sectoral loser, shortly followed by the PSU Bank, which was down nearly 4%. The Nifty Auto, on the other hand, was up almost 1.5% for the week, top gainer led by Tata Motor as well as Bharat Forge. Defense stocks were also in focus last week. Idea Forge Tech managed to gain almost 22% last week, despite a weak set of numbers. Pars Defense as well as Bharat Dynamics also saw gains at a time in which the benchmark indices saw a cut of over 1%. Coming today, we will be keeping an eye out on big geopolitical developments that are slated to take place. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye out on the meet between the DGMOs between India and Pakistan. What goes on out there will be important to monitor. Apart from that, Putin also has proposed direct Russia-Ukraine talks, and the tariff talks that are progressing between India and US also indicate some positive developments. Lots of earnings to watch out for: Tata Steel, Bharti Airtel, Cipla, Hitachi Energy, BHEL, Emami, Tata Power and HEL are just some of the other counters that you'll need to watch out for. But as of now, the GIFT Nifty is indicating a very strong start to the trading session, Hormaz.
Indeed, we watch out for that, and whether that sustains. Start around the 24,600 mark for the Nifty based on what the implied open is indicating of around 500 points higher. We managed to hold on to that 24,000 mark on the downside on Friday, so it'll be interesting to see how today's session pans out. Over to Vinny now, who'll list out the stocks that you need to keep an eye out for today. Vinny, good morning. What's on your list?
Good morning. So firstly, I'm going to start with some of the earnings that were reported over the weekend. We had Dr. Reddy's that reported largely in line numbers in terms of revenue coming in, but the miss came in on the margin front from what the street was expecting. Now, revenue up by 20%, margins they are at 29.1% versus 26.4%, but they're coming off. Why? Because Revlimid sales are decreasing, which is expected to decrease further, and the management has said that in FY26 they could expect flat margins. They are reiterating to maintain the margins and come in the margins after Revlimid at around 25%, so keep an eye out on Dr. Reddy's. Other than that, we have ABB that's going to be in focus. The revenue saw a growth which is seeing a bit of a moderation coming in. Is the weakest in the last few quarters in terms of growth that one has seen. Revenue is up by just 3%. Profit was also up by just 3%. So important to watch out for ABB. GE Shipping, weak set of numbers reported by the company. The impact came in because of the change in terms of rates, lower tanker rates. Bulk rates were lower. That is what is impacting the overall performance of the company. Profits down 60%. Revenue down 18.3% as well. So important to keep an eye on that. Thermax, a miss came in from this company as well in terms of the numbers for Q4. Soft growth in industrial infra as well as green solutions is what has come in for the company. Revenue saw a growth of around 11.6%, while profits were up by around 8.1%. MapMy India, a decent growth coming in for the revenue in terms of company from the company in terms of revenue. 34% growth in terms of revenue at 144 crores and profit at 28.2%. So in terms of overall growth, seeing a good growth there. Birla Corp, a bit of a realization is where we're keeping an eye out on. 7% QOQ increase in terms of realization. Revenue seeing a bit of an improvement of 6.1%. So largely a decent number that came in from Birla Corp. Manappuram, on the other hand, a sharp loss is what they're reporting this time, 203 crores versus a profit of 563 crores. And there's an increase in terms of impairment of financial instruments, which is impacting the loss of the company and profits of the company. So that is why we're seeing a loss this time. NI is also seeing a decline for the company of 6.7%. Important to watch out for Yes Bank because Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation will be acquiring 20% stake in the company from SBI and its consortium. So keep an eye out on Yes Bank. Purvankara, a couple of news flows there, but important to watch out for because Abhishek Kapoor, the CEO and Group CEO and ED of the company, has resigned from 9th of May. So maybe watch out for that one. And Adani Power, they've secured a contract to supply 1,500 megawatt of thermal power to Uttar Pradesh at a rate which was better than what the street was expecting. So keep an eye out on that.
Well, thank you so much for that, Vinny. Lots of stock to watch out for. And finally, we now have Sudarshan joining in with cues from the F&O space. Good morning, Sudarshan.
Good morning. So what we lost in last two sessions, we are set to regain on the back of positive cues from US-China trade talks and the ceasefire announced between India and Pakistan. GIFT Nifty is indicating a start with a gain of almost 500 points. But talking about Friday's session, it was a nervous day of trade. Both benchmark indices, Sensex and Nifty, saw a cut of 1%. But if there was any indication of Monday's opening, it had come from mid-cap index, which had seen a huge recovery, and at the end it was flat. Now talking about the flows, after 2 weeks of continued buying, FIs finally on Friday turned sellers. It sold almost rupees 3,800 crore, while DIs have bought more than rupees 7,200 crore. Even in the index futures too, we saw FIs selling nearly 2,600 crore. They have reduced long positions by 12,400 contracts, and at the same time they've added short positions by more than 2,400 contracts. On the option front, on the call side, 24,100 call was healthy, where we saw addition of 34 lakh shares and premium was 172. On the put side, 24,000 put had seen addition of nearly 25 lakh shares. Levels for Nifty, not sure how much it matters today considering the gap up start that GIFT Nifty is indicating, but nevertheless, support is seen around 23,900, resistance 24,300, Nifty is set to open above 24,300, and if it crosses 24,300, next resistance level that comes in the picture is 24,500. One stock that I'll keep an eye on is Tata Motors. It has been moving higher for the last two sessions. It saw buying, but after US-China trade talks, we'll have to see if it continues to see follow-up buying.
Oh, possibly the stock of last week, right? Tata Motors continuing to build on that strength that it saw towards the second half of the week and ended the week substantially higher as well. Take a short break. Sudarshan, thanks a lot for that.